you could shed light on?
No, I think they if it's somebody they know, it brings back memories from the past, and so they reminisce a lot. I also think a lot of readers want to make sure they're not dead, and so if their name doesn't appear there, they're lucky.
They're lucky that day. It's a good day.
But I've done a lot of other things that I really enjoy. I worked 20 or so years ago with the Persian Gulf War families. Roger Planikow from the Methodist Church in town and I met with the families on Sundays. And for the past, more recently, for 5 years, I worked with the widows of the 9/11 catastrophe.
And how did you
Westfield
facilitate
and Mount. So it was a support group.
Wow.
We met at the Westfield United Fund office, and for over 5 years, a great group of women. It was very, very traumatic. This loss, this unexpected loss.
Certainly.
And we were able to, I think, identify and deal with a lot of issues. They've moved on. And
now, do you draw clients from many different backgrounds and churches? I heard you mention a few different churches, but do you have an affiliation with, let's say, Holy Trinity or the Temple? Or?
Yeah, well, this is a great story. So when I became the director here, again, it was an Episcopalian agency with my name, and because I was hired, everybody thought I was an Episcopalian priest, so I was put into the ministerium right away. So I started going to the meetings, but as I said before, I'm a ham. I like to do entertainment. I sing too. So I used to do all the entertainment. Up until then, Joe Harrison, who was a priest at St. Paul's, used to do it. I took over. I did. Everybody was happy until Dr. Fred Christian, who was the senior minister at the Presbyterian Church, called me in and said, "You have to leave. You can't be a member because you're not a priest. You're not a minister. You're out." I was devastated. I felt rejected. I left. And then after a while, all the ministers and the priests and the rabbis got together. They went to Dr. Christian and said, "This guy's too valuable. He does all our entertainment. Whenever a minister leaves or is sick or something, this guy takes over and does it."
So were you
I was voted back in,
in,
and since then I've been the president, vice president. For the past 35 years, I've been the head of the nominating committee with Kathy Doolin from Holy St. Helens. And I work with all the churches and the temples, and it's a great experience.
So we're not precluded from receiving the benefits of this kind of organization that's safe because we belong to any one specific denomination.
Not at all. It's
There's no
non-sectarian.
Okay.
We don't discriminate, and I feel it's an honor for me to be involved with the ministry group. They're a wonderful group. But because of what happened, it opened the door for heads of agencies to become members of the ministerium. And now it is called officially the Westfield Mountainside Ministerium Associates, thanks to me. So I'm very, very proud of that.
You should be proud of that. That's it, because, it's all about opening doors and people helping people, and it shouldn't really, because a certain title hasn't been bestowed on someone, that they should be excluded. That's a great story.
Well, another great story was that a few years ago, Joan Lowell Smith, who is a writer for the Star Ledger, writes about animals every Sunday. She called and wondered if I was doing anything with animals, and I said no, but I do deal with families who have issues with animals. Well, she wrote a big column on me, which is hanging behind you. And we started getting phone calls of people wanting to set up appointments to have me see their dogs and cats because they thought I did animal therapy. So for a while we went at that, and it was great.
That's a very funny story.
And my favorite story, I was in one of the local restaurants one day, and as I'm leaving, I turn around, I hear somebody say, "Arr!" And I said, "What?" And it was a customer there who saw me in the paper dealing with dogs, and they wanted to congratulate me.
That is very
That's
funny.
what keeps me going here. It really does.
So it sounds like, although you're dealing with, and I would like to ask you about some of the serious issues that you do deal with, and if you can give us a little glimpse into some of the most, troubling and trends that you see. It sounds as if there's a good feeling about this place, this house, and what you do. How many people work here in this particular office?
We have 9 therapists. Part-time, full-time. They are either a PhD psychologist, an LCSW licensed clinical social worker, or an LPC, a licensed professional counselor. And we have 3 support secretaries here also. We're open 5 days a week. We start at 8 o'clock in the morning. A few nights we're here till 7, and on Wednesday nights we're here till 9 or 10.
Wow, that's quite But you mentioned earlier the weekend. So now what if there was a crisis in someone's family? Can they call in?
We have an answering machine here, so we will refer them elsewhere.
Yes.
We used to be open on Saturdays, but with women working, men working on the weekends, they're busy doing laundry, shopping, taking care of their children.
And what's the caseload like?
First of all, we see children from 6 years old and up, and we see a lot of tweeners now, and 11 to 13, and teenagers, a lot of teenagers. And by the way, that's my favorite. I love working with teenagers.
So are you a therapist also then?
Yeah, I do a lot of therapy
Yeah, you
here.
do a lot of therapy.
I would stay if I could. I love it.
That's what you really, that's
I love
the
it.
meat and potato. Even though you have to do the bigger picture things, you like to do the therapy.
Yeah, also a lot of people in town know my name, and some key people prefer to see me, and so I want to be
Do you
there.
have people, and your therapist, do they have some clients that are with them for many months?
It goes from weeks, months to years. Let me just finish one thing, then I'll talk to you about that part, which has to do with insurance, the dreaded word, managed care. But we work with 52% of our clientele are single parents, divorced families. And the tragedy there is you get a lot of women who are divorced, have to go out into the social world to meet people, and all they encounter are men who want to go to bed with them. I mean, this is an overgenerality, I know, but it's true, and it's very frustrating. We deal with a lot of fathers. Well, I'm very, very pleased. A lot of men are coming in now.
And so do you see a growth now in the number of cases, similar type of cases with the harder economic times? Do you see any trend?
Oh yes, the newest thing now is depression. A lot of people coming in who are very depressed because of the economic situation. Many work on Wall Street, or they don't even have to work on Wall Street, but their financial world is falling apart. And this is a bittersweet thing what I'm about to tell you, but I do a lot of marriage counseling. A lot of therapists don't want to do that because there's so much anger involved between husband and wife. So now I have quite a few families who have decided they're going to get divorced. So I say, okay, it's a viable option if it works for you, if the marriage is not a good one. Then they call me and come back and they say, Faith, you have to help me. Because of our finances, because of the economy, we no longer can get divorced. We're going to live together. Help us, give us tools how to not to destroy each other.
That's
so that's the newest thing.
And have you been able to save some of
We
those?
try.
Yeah,
We try.
And